Really fun episode of Locked On Blue Devils coming your way today. We've got to hear all of the latest when it comes to Duke men's basketball recruiting, and who better to hear it from than 24/7 Sports Insider Brandon Jenkins. He's back. It's been a little while since he's been on the program, and he's going to join us here on today's show. Without further ado, let's get right to it.
Hi, everybody. Dick Vitale. Hey, make sure you listen, man, to Locked On Blue Devils with JJ Jackson. He's awesome, baby.
You are Locked On Blue Devils, your daily podcast on the Duke Blue Devils, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into another episode of the Locked On Blue Devils podcast. My name is JJ Jackson, and it's so great to have you here with us on this Monday, May 8th, 2023. Super excited for today's episode of Locked On Blue Devils as we're going to get a full breakdown of what's going on in the recruiting world for Jon Scheyer as he gets set for his second season as Duke men's basketball's head coach. If you haven't done so already, of course, Locked On Blue Devils is available wherever you get your podcasts. You can find us for free wherever you get them. Leave us a 5-star rating and review. Watch the show daily on YouTube each and every day. Hit that subscribe button as your support means the absolute world to us. Today, I want to welcome in now my very good pal, Brandon Jenkins from 24/7 Sports, who has not been on the show since the very end of 2021. So that is certainly on me. It's been way too long, but Brandon, it's good to have you back here on the show today. I hope you're doing well.
No, it's crazy that you mentioned that. You said it was like a little while, and my first thought was, it's been a lot of while.
It's been way too long, but I'm glad to have you back here with us, man. I'm excited to talk about what's going on with Duke basketball as we're in a bit of a transition. So much has changed. The last time we spoke, the greatest coach of all time in the sport, Mike Krzyzewski, was the one out on the recruiting trail. And now there's someone entirely new in Jon Scheyer leading the way for Duke. From your perspective, what has that transition kind of been like?
Man, it's like you don't want to perform after Michael Jackson, right? But I think he took on the challenge very well. I think he took on the challenge well, and he did it with great confidence. I mean, like, he came in and he hit the ground running. I think that's the best part about it. He hit the ground running immediately with the recruiting class that he brought in. I mean, you bring in Derek Lively, Dariq Whitehead, Tyrese Proctor off rip. But you bring in those type of dudes off rip, and that's how you follow Mike Krzyzewski. And they say you can't perform after Michael Jackson, but I think he performed to the highest of tees. I mean, Usher is good too, right?
No
Y'all
kidding.
got Jon Scheyer. So.
No kidding. Yeah, no, we're fired up about that for sure. I think you're right. I think you talk about what he was able to do on Coach K's staff, right, and being able to work for an entire year. We knew that, hey, this was going to be Coach K's last year. K wanted to be brilliant and give Scheyer a runaway start. But then as we talk about a good bit, even going back to someone like Jason Tatum or Zion Williamson or Marvin Bagley, Wendell Carter Jr. there. I mean, he's been recruiting top-level classes at Duke for many years.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, you're preaching right now, man. I mean, like, you know, the brand speaks for itself. And don't get no disrespect to Coach K, but Jon Scheyer has this thing elevated. He picked up where he left off, and there's a lot of potential with it. Let's just say that I think Blue Devil fans should be excited for the future. And obviously, they brought in more pieces recently that should get them excited, and that they should be very, very pumped about. So, I mean, it's great times right now.
Look, the first season results in an ACC tournament championship. Duke felt like they were playing their best basketball, 12-game winning streak to close out the year, and then just ran into a tough Tennessee team and a freshman and Mark Mitchell not able to go there in the round of 32. We're still stung over that loss, but that's okay because we're building into this next season. And Coach Scheyer talks about a level of transitioning taking place, whereas in years past, it would feel like your entire freshman class is heading off to the NBA draft. But Brandon, as we sit here today, Kyle Filipowski, Mark Mitchell, and Tyrese Proctor have all decided to come back to Duke for their sophomore seasons.
Yes. Yeah. Honestly, and the only one that surprised me was the Filipowski move. That's the only one that surprised me because, he was the most productive. He was the most efficient. Even and you know what's so crazy? His percentages don't even speak for itself because he shot 28 from three?
Yeah, no kidding. 28,
But it seemed like he was making everything from long range. He was a reliable piece. So I'm surprised he wants to come back, but I guess there's something about that magic down there in Durham, right? I wanted Lively to come back. What about you?
I did too. Yeah, I really thought there could have been a little bit more on the offensive end for Derek Lively to come back to showcase there and that sort of thing. But look, you're projected first round even still, and the defensive abilities that he's got already, I think it's a wise decision for him to go on and kind of make that case. I'm just happy that, and Duke fans are, that it's not going to be 5 players in, 5 players out each and every year like it has been, it seems, for the last few seasons.
Oh, no, this is Duke. It's not Kentucky. It's Duke.
We're supposed to have guys for a few more years than just having to turn it over. The other thing in all of this, and then I do want to get to some of the kids coming in and future classes and that sort of thing. What's crazy in a day and age in which the transfer portal is what we're talking about all the time, Brandon, Duke is one of only 2 Power 5 Big 6 teams in the country to not have a single scholarship player enter the transfer portal. How wild is that? A school like Duke, where playing time is hard to come by, and not a single scholarship player enters the transfer portal.
I'm just learning that from the first time.
Yeah.
Hey, how about this? And that means everybody should buy stock in John Stockton.
would be wise.
John Shire, my bad. Well, John Stockton too, he's a Hall of Famer. But buy stock in John Shire. Everybody should.
Yeah. No, I mean, he's clearly preaching something. I think from the freshman perspective, a lot of people thought maybe somebody like Jaden Shute would enter the transfer portal. He hasn't made that decision yet. Got a few days left here. I'm really excited about what he can do. You gave us a full preview of him back in his early high school recruiting days with the shot that he's got there from the outside. Christian Reeves, a high school teammate of Caleb Foster, played in 13 games this season for Duke. He's coming back for another year. But those level players ultimately decided, I'm happy here at Duke. Let me run it back for another season. Whereas everybody else, it feels like, is heading towards the exits and looking for that next open door.
No. Yeah. And I challenge all of those dudes just to buy into Shire. I think the fact that Shute stayed, Reeves stayed, they're bought into Durham. They're gonna get a great ROI. They have to get the great ROI because they already came in with the tools. They've been through the trenches in terms of the facts that they went through. The downside, and it was a big headline that Duke was struggling and whatnot. They bring in all these freshmen, and then they figure it out. So now they have the recipes to success. Now it's just time to buy into each other. And I think they have the right piece to do it, and they definitely have the right staff to do it.
No kidding. Yeah, that staff is pretty awesome that he's been able to put together. And we're going to break down more of that and the new pieces coming in because a freshman class is set to join them for the upcoming season. Brandon Jenkins from 24/7 Sports is joining us here on the show today, and we'll continue our conversation in just a moment after our first time out. Locked On Blue Devils here today is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. FanDuel is absolutely America's #1 sports betting book, and you want to make sure that you have the fast break opportunity with FanDuel during these NBA playoffs. Right now, new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. What you need to do is download that app, go to FanDuel.com/lockedon, and that's how you can get that no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. Again, that's FanDuel.com/lockedon. There's no better place to bet on all the playoff action than America's #1 sports book. FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Moving forward here on today's episode of Locked On Blue Devils, JJ Jackson alongside my pal Brandon Jenkins, a recruiting analyst for 24/7 Sports. Tell me a little bit about your website, man. Your guys' full recruiting coverage. You got an elite team there. Kind of promote what you guys got going on.
Oh, man, it's been transfer portal madness. So I think our #1 thing is just keeping taps in with the analysis. It's one thing to do the recruiting coverage, but the one thing that we want to make sure that our subscribers know is that not only do we know who's going where, but we know what they do. And I think our team has done a great job of just maximizing that aspect of it. And it's our job to keep y'all in the loop. So please stay tapped in with what we have to do. I think that to keep a long story short, stay tapped in with what we have to do. And there's more coming. And, the transfer portal is running the show.
Yeah, big fan of what the Devil's Den is doing there, the 247 Duke affiliated website, and we've always got those guys tapped in here on the show. And glad to get your next level recruiting insights as well for this Duke team. And I want to talk recruiting because that's what Duke is so focused on. There are a couple of kind of transfer portal big men that Duke is trying to get to come and join the Brotherhood for next season. Given that Derek Lively II has ultimately decided to enter the NBA draft. For a while, Raleigh native Caden Shedrick transferring from Virginia. For a moment, it thought like maybe he would go to Duke. He ultimately goes and plays there for Texas. So still trying to find out who that next big man coming in could possibly be for John Shire ahead of next season.
Absolutely, but at this Filipowski's back.
Yeah, you're right.
Filipowski's back, and trust we have in him, and then we have to trust in Christian Reed's development. And also Sean Stewart, he's the son of a pro. So it's not your traditional lively big man. You're not going to get your Brian Zubek type of guy where it's just an enforcer or a rim protector. But I think that's one of those things that where you have to play it by committee. And I think they're up for the challenge. And like I said before, they're bought in. They're bought into the challenge. And so, I mean, it's a big task to fill. But, I think with the staff and with the players that they have in mind, they don't fit it from the outside looking in, but if they buy in and give their all, I feel like they have the front court to get it done in a different type of way.
Yeah.
Through physicality and also just through the approach.
Man, we're giving love to all the five men since 2010 or so with the Brian Zubek name drop here. The Plumlee brothers are out there as well doing their thing, The
problem is they had the aesthetic. Like Sean Stewart doesn't have that, the 7-foot long arms aesthetic. But he has that mindset to get the job done. And I think that matters more. You know what I mean? Now, when you have both, you become an NBA player.
Right. No doubt about that. And also what's tough is that, Coach K's last season ends with the Final Four run. We've got Paulo Banchero, who turns into the number 1 overall pick in the draft and how talented he is. Mark Williams also turned into a lottery pick. They were protecting the rim, right, in his sophomore season. And then Derek Lively follows suit. Those guys have arms longer than, craziness. And now it's going to be, unless someone else comes in, to your point, Sean Stewart is going to be that next 5-man. Tell us a little bit, though, for folks who have no idea, the full breakdown of Sean Stewart as we get into this next level recruiting class. Who is he? What is he about?
I think the first and foremost, most important part is that he's the son of a pro. So before we get to anything that he does on the hardwood, he is the son of a pro. So he has been through it. He has seen it. He's been raised in it. The talks outside of basketball still has to deal with basketball. Like he knows what the task is at hand, and he's here for the challenge, and he's here to complete the challenge. He doesn't carry himself like an incoming freshman. He carries himself like a professional. So off the court wise, you have somebody that's going to be locked in, bought into what Shire has going on. On the court, he plays extremely hard. Like that's what he does. That's what, he puts the hat on and he goes to work. You don't have to never question how much energy he's giving. He is that's the number one consistent thing that he's bringing. He's kind of limited away from the basket, but at the same time, he's the one who brings in the extra possessions, the 50-50 balls. He plays hard. He has a college-ready body. He's coming with the physicality. Yeah. Just think from day one, you're getting Reggie Evans, that type of workhorse, junkyard dog, second chance points, the dude that's going to work, and he's going to bring defensive versatility alongside of that. You're getting a guy that is there to be a part of Duke. He isn't thinking about anything else but Duke winning basketball games. He's going to be the heart and soul for the Cameron Crazies.
Yeah, I want to hear a little bit more about the offensive game because that's what obviously defense is going to speak for itself. Duke was able to put together a really good defensive unit. But, we've got these great guards with Tyrese Proctor, and then we'll get to Jared McCain, Caleb Foster. There's a world in which Jeremy Roach wants to come back for his senior season. That decision's still out there for Roach to be made. But as Duke drives to the rim, is Stewart somebody that can be a lob threat for him? Can he put the ball on the floor himself a little bit? I mean, what else can we see from him offensively, you think?
Offensively, he has the springs.
Yeah.
He does have the springs now.
Okay,
There's a
good.
reason why he gets those second chance points. I mean, those jeans mean something. So he has the springs. He will be a lob threat. expect him to make shots out to 15 feet. Now, if he expands his game, that would be a surprise to me. But at the same time, he is somebody who does put in the work, and he takes basketball very seriously. So if he comes at me with something new, he comes at the Cameron Crazies with something different, please expect that because he does put in the work. He does put in the work. But offensively, yeah, he will be a lob threat. Second chance point guy, junkyard dog. He brings it. He brings everything gritty to the table. That Rodman, Reggie Evans feel, that's what you're getting out of him. And he comes in and he steps on the hardwood every day to put in work. So
I love that. All right, let's talk about some of these guards that have signed their letter of intent to come play for Duke next year. We've got a pair of them in Jared McCain and Caleb Foster. I'll let you pick who are you more excited about among those two, because it's hard for me to choose which one I'm more excited about of those guys.
How about this? I'm going to go with Caleb Foster. I'm more excited about him because I think in a point in time, now granted, 24/7 Sports, we're a team. But let's not get it twisted. We all have different opinions. There was a point in time where I thought Caleb Foster could have been the #1 player in the 2023 class.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's high praise. Okay, tell us. We're excited then. We got to hear about him.
Yeah. He wavered from it. He wavered from it because he used to be a prospect that was a pass first. He was a balanced type of dude. He was about so at 6'4", pushing 6'5", he was a balanced type of guy. He can get his teammates involved. He played with Jalen Brunson level of pace, and he can make shots from all three scoring ranges, all three. And he let the game come to him. And I think he had a transition in the period when he was in high school. Now, granted, he's very young, still a kid, transitioning into a man, but like in the same time, I think he went into this mindset where he felt he had to score to be effective. And now that he's at Duke and he's in a position where he's going to play with like talent, I think that he's going to be placed in a position by Shire where he can get back to that brand of basketball that led me to think that he was going to be the #1 player in the country. So he's the one that I am the most excited about, even though the hype doesn't say so.
I love that. So then, from the Jared McCain perspective, why can we be excited for him?
You should be excited because his social media presence is amazing.
No doubt. We've known about that for quite some time. What about and obviously, his name, image, and likeness deals he's got out there in the state of California already. He's going to be rolling them in when he attaches the Duke brand to his name that he's already got. I mean, the sky's the limit for him in that regard.
Right?
But, I mean, from what we're hearing, his game backs it up as well, right? This isn't just some famous TikToker at this point. He's able to give you buckets too, correct?
Yeah, expect the Mason Jones, Seth Curry type vibes. I think that's what we should expect. I think people try to put a label of him. We may have him ranked as a combo guard because he can do a lot on the ball and he can get others involved, and he plays with a great poise. He's heady with it when he's on the ball. But I would really expect the Seth Curry, the Matt Jones type of playing off ball. Just somebody that complements excellence around him. He's going to be the one that makes the shot. He reads penetration gaps. He's a knockdown shooter. He has a great feel for the game. He's going to be there for multiple years. He has the Duke brand on his back. And you know what? He is going to be he embodies the devil.
Yeah.
The devil. Like the J.J. Redick, the Christian Laettner, he embodies the devil, and he takes that on with pride and stride. You know what I mean? So Jared McCain is going to be Duke, but he's going to be Duke in the form and fashion of like the Seth Curry, the Andre Dawkins. That's a good one. The Andre Dawkins, playing off of great guards, and he's going to do it with a smile, and that smile is going to piss off the rivals. You know what I mean?
which we're all for. We're going to love every single second of that smile there for Jared McCain. What's interesting though is so JJ Redick was a shooter the moment he stepped on campus. We watched him in the league for 15 seasons as an absolute shooter. You mentioned Seth Curry and Andre Dawkins, their outside shooting ability. Let's look at this recent NBA season that just ended, Brandon. And if you go pull up the stats, 2 of the top 5 guys in the entire league and 3-point percentage are Luke Kennard and Grayson Allen, 2 guards from Duke. Okay, but in their games at the college level, a little bit more of the ball in their hands and trying to find their own shots as opposed to more of a spot-up role that they've got in the NBA. So all that to say, what do you expect it to look like for Jared McCain on next year's Duke team?
Well, for next
because we
Duke
saw
team,
Grayson Allen with the ball in his hands more in college. This
Absolutely.
year, he's got a role with Milwaukee, and he was a dead-eye sniper from the outside and didn't look for his shot as much.
Absolutely. I think, well, the number one thing is when you get to college, because you said the first year, right? This next year.
Yeah.
That's what people are worried about. You know, when you, as a freshman, you're trying to just find your niche. And I think that's where Jared McCain's niche is. First and foremost, he can put the ball in the basket. And so he's probably going to buy into that. You know, second most, he's a great rebounder for a guard. But it's kind of harder to get that off in the college level than it is in high school. So we're going to see how that translates. But he can put the ball in the basket and he can shoot. So right there, he puts himself in that mode of an Andre Dawkins, of a Seth Curry, of a Matt Jones. But the reason why the Luke Kennard and the Grayson Allens can't come into play is because, yeah, like you said, they had the wiggle going on. And I don't think he will get it as early as those players. Now, if he does, because he's never been a shot creator on demand. He's been one who lets the game come to him in a fundamentally sound way. And I think Luke Kennard and Grayson Allen don't get the credit for having that pop in their legs that they do. I mean, like, it's sneaky. It doesn't look the part, but they have it. Jared McCain, he's probably going to have to work for it more, and he's going to buy into the work. He's happy. He's going to be excited about the work. He's going to smile through it all, right?
Yeah.
You've seen that smile.
No kidding.
So, he's going to be one that's going to have to, figure it out and buy into a role. But he's so fundamentally sound that it will be an easy transition for him. And then we're going to get the most out of him with the ball in your hands and the shiftiness and everything that you see, if he continues to stay his time in Durham, which I'm pretty sure he's bought in and he's locked in with it. So
I'm ready for basketball to be played right now, Brandon. You got me fired up, for real. So a few more guys to talk about before our final break of today's show. So looking at next year's squad, a couple of names still to get to that are coming in and joining the Brotherhood. Obviously, Mackenzie Mbako was someone who was a part of this class for a long while. He's obviously no longer going to come and join the Brotherhood, and we've unpacked that a lot here on the show, so we'll leave that for another day. But I want to get to, before we get to the final recruit coming in, someone that was supposed to be a part of this recruiting class was Tyrese Proctor. And then when Trevor Keels stays in the NBA draft last season, Proctor reclassifies and already has one season of college basketball under his belt. What did you see from year one, and why am I not crazy to be so excited about year two, about sophomore Tyrese Proctor? Because I'm really excited, man. Like his last
You're really
game,
excited about the sophomore version of Tyrese Proctor.
Yes.
As you should. So, like, the same way I spoke with high regard about Caleb Foster, Travis Branham, my coworker, believed Tyrese Proctor was the number one player in the country if he never reclassified down. So, in a way, y'all are getting his true freshman year. And, how one and dones go. You get your John Wall year, your Lonzo Ball year, Anthony Davis year, whatever. That year of magnificence, Michael Beasley, Kevin Durant. You get your year of magnificence.
Zion some love
this
here.
Is his
You're on the Duke podcast.
Yeah, Zion Williamson.
You're on
the best Duke player ever. I know Duke has had some. He's the best Duke player ever. He's the best because think about it. If he grew up in the 1990s where the one and done era wasn't in play, and he did what he did in his first year, imagine what he would have did in his senior year if he
kept year after year, stays healthy and everything. No, you're right.
Oh, you're right. He would have got hurt. Never mind. Never mind.
Don't wish that on him.
But forget that. But you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
So Proctor, year two.
Y'all are getting the true freshman year of Tyrese Proctor. Y'all are getting the real one and done freshman year of Tyrese Proctor. And he is going to come with the vibes, the same vibe, the John Wall, barring anything happening.
Yeah.
He should come with the vibes because he's been through it before. He's been through the ups and downs of Duke basketball. He's been through the scrutiny. He's been through everything. And guess what? Without all of that coming his way, like even if he hadn't had to deal with the scrutiny or go through the trenches of what that was of the ups and downs,
sure,
he's still very damn good at basketball. So that's why you have to bank in on Tyrese Proctor's true freshman year. Y'all should be excited. He brings it all to the table. And there's a reason why Shire had to put him on the ball.
Yeah, I can't wait. And he was great on the ball. That's why I'm so excited. Continuing to look for his shot and others. His passing ability, I think, is next level. So really excited for Proctor to come back for one more season. So, all right, last guy in the class that I want to talk about. And again, you've got breakdowns on 24/7 Sports on all these guys' recruiting profile pages. You guys got the individual analysis. And for whatever reason, Brandon, you guys divvy that up. I don't know what that process looks like, but I feel as though when I go to a Duke player's name, the scouts breakdown is your name listed. So let's keep that trend going. I don't know what the process looks like, but for whatever reason, you're always evaluating these Duke guys.
Yeah, I got to keep that work ethic up, right? I got to maintain that Blue Devils sense of work ethic.
There you go.
You know what I mean? I've been slacking from it. I'll add Isaiah Evans.
Yeah.
I'll add the future. You got me. You brought me back into it.
I love that. So we've got, because I was just talking, we mentioned Jaden Shoot, and I was looking through his stuff earlier. His breakdown, if you go to his profile right now, you can read the high praise that you've got for him and what he can do with that shooting. The last player to mention, though, is TJ Power, which I think from a shooting perspective, Jaden Shoot is someone that also comes into mind. So let's talk about TJ Power a little bit.
All right. So, how hyped were Duke fans when they found out they got Mackenzie Mbako? He was the teammate of, DJ Wagner in the summer, teamed up with Simeon Wilcher. Just even without him playing basketball, he was already attached to the right dudes.
Right.
Like a 5-star label to his name. He's somebody that y'all were looking forward to, right? And then he decommits. TJ Power is going to mean more to that program because he was bought in even before Duke offered him a scholarship. Before he had to work for it. Drake said started from the bottom. He started from the bottom and he worked for it. You're getting a guy who is older for the class, so he's already physically mature for the college game. And he brings a supreme level of skill. He doesn't have bad games. He just doesn't have bad games. In the high school realm, he doesn't have bad games. So when you transfer that off to college, he's playing against dudes with more athleticism, but he will kill you with great footwork. He makes open shots, and his mentality is mature beyond his years. And I think this is a guy that it's the fit. The fit is immaculate. The fit is immaculate. I know TJ Power has the 4 stars to his name and Mackenzie has the 5, but when you factor in that fit, that's a 5-star type of dude for Duke. You know what I mean? And that's somebody that our staff has been very high on. And he comes in older. College coaches want older. He comes in older. So there it is.
And one heck of a pitching prospect as well on the baseball diamond. One heck of a
for
player
sure.
too. The offensive game though, like is the 3-point shot is what you're expecting, and then everything else he's able to do is the cherry on top, or what does the offensive game look like?
You know what? If his 3-point percentage is high in his first year, I'll be very surprised. And it's not he shoots the cover off the ball. Don't get it twisted. Just college basketball is an adjustment like none other. Like the speed of the game, everything is an adjustment. I think the number one thing he'll buy into first is just being a Duke guy. It's weird to say when we're talking on a podcast like this. I think you're going to get the best version out of him later. Obviously, it's because he's a freshman, but he's going to bring productivity from a different aspect that you and I can't even explain. But then you're going to see the full asset of his game come along. And I think he has All-American potential if he stays focused.
I love that.
It's different, but he has it in him.
Next year, would you expect more production from a sophomore Jaden Shoot or from a freshman TJ Power?
Repeat that one more time. I'm sorry.
Would you expect more production from a sophomore Jaden Shoot or a freshman TJ Power next year? Jaden Shoot only played in 14 games for Duke. He was definitely buried on the bench. But again, a player that I was excited about.
Right?
Yeah,
that's a tough question. I'm gonna go with wow. I'm gonna go with TJ Power.
Okay.
And go with TJ Power because this day and age, and it's crazy because the reason why it's a tough question is because Shoot has to find his way on the floor this year. And it's easier.
Or else he is going to be transferring, right? Back to our original conversation.
We're in the day and the age where the players have all the power.
Right.
And so, I'm over here thinking, okay, well, the coaches know that Shoot is feeling this way and Power's feeling this way. And nobody ever really thinks about it like this. But, at the same time,
Truth be told, we're excited about all of them, but there's only one basketball.
There's only one basketball. There's only one basketball, but there's 13 to 15 egos, and like Power's ego is fresh. So I'm gonna roll with TJ Power on this one, and I think the staff knows he's a Duke guy. The staff also knows Shoot is a Duke guy, but man, college basketball is a grind. It's a grind. It's easier than me and you talking about, this dude is gonna end up playing well. This dude is gonna end up playing well. These dudes go through a lot. So. Power's coming in like that's fresh meat. That's fresh meat right there. So I mean, like I think he's excited about Duke. And I think the staff is going to pour into him because they know what he's capable. Like I said, All-American potential. But if Shoot stays bought in, he will be great. He will be great because like the same energy that I had for him last year, it never changes because you know what these dudes are capable of, right? But like no, I'll lean on Power with the question.
Okay. All right. Well, let's take our last break, and then when we come back, we wrap up with Brandon Jenkins for 24/7 Sports. Thanks so much for making Locked On Blue Devils your first listen and first watch each and every day. Again, make sure you check out Locked On College Basketball as well. With our hosts, Isaac Shade and Andy Patton, they do a phenomenal job 5 days a week, giving you everything that you need to know about the game of college basketball. They're breaking down all of the transfer portal news. The coaching carousel has finally settled just a little bit. We're having early thoughts into what next year's rankings will look like and that sort of thing. So make sure you make it a priority to go check out Locked On College Basketball. All right, final few moments here on today's episode of Locked On Blue Devils alongside Brandon Jenkins. I'm JJ Jackson. Follow him on Twitter at bjenkins247. So I got to ask you this. As we talk a lot about this Duke recruiting staff, what has it truly been like the last year and a half plus as you're going to all these basketball events, seeing Jon Scheyer as the head coach, Nolan Smith, of course, no longer recruiting for Duke, but Emil Jefferson is in an elevated spot along with Chris Carrawell. And then the last member of the Duke coaching staff surprised many last year because it's typically somebody within the brotherhood. But instead, it's a player who's attached more so to your basketball alma mater in Texas, and Jai Lucas that comes and joins the staff. So break down what it's been like around that staff the last year and a half on the recruiting trail.
First of all, it may be crazy to say, but Jai Lucas is probably like the equivalent of he's up there with like the Phil Jacksons and the Popoviches of the world. And I don't think like he's not a secret. He's not a secret, but it's just so much that people don't know that his mind is wired to the basketball game. I mean, there's a reason why Duke had to go out the brotherhood because that energy, it just holds so much weight. And the fans don't know to the extent, but if you're truly devoted into basketball, you know why Jai Lucas is on that Duke staff because he's a Hall of Famer waiting to happen. And we talk about Scheyer, and Shire's going to pick up where Coach K left off. We talk about Emil Jefferson. He's a part of the brotherhood. Carraway, part of the brotherhood. You have to. Jai Lucas is one of one. He's one of one.
Wow.
He's just one of one, and he's going to be. He's the glue, but he's also the star. He's the star that people have not witnessed yet. Hidden gem that isn't really hidden.
Well, in many regards, I didn't know how many years we'd had. Like, it wouldn't have surprised me at all if all of a sudden after this first year ended, another opportunity, a head coaching opportunity would have popped up for Jai Lucas. Like, it feels as though he's destined for one of those big So nonetheless, excited to have him back for another season. Does it feel as though he is really bought into being a Duke assistant coach?
Ooh, I mean, it's so crazy. You know how people have their dream jobs?
Yeah.
I think it's the dream job that he didn't even know was possible. And that's how bought in he is to the program. He's tapped. I mean, think about it. Y'all are recruiting for 2025 as we speak because 2024 is on lock. 2023 is. Who do we have to thank for that?
Jai Lucas. Okay.
Jai Lucas. Like he gets the job done before he knows that the task is even being presented to him. It's just one. That's why I speak with him with such high regard. The things that Scheyer has to worry about, he doesn't even have to worry about ahead of time because Jai Lucas is on staff, and that's why the confidence was there to bring him in. And I may be biased because he did coach me. He did coach me. But at the same time, I know what he does from the day in and the day out. And obviously from the outside looking in, the resume speaks for itself. He got Greg Brown to Texas. You know what I mean?
Right.
That led Cal to get him. He got Casey Wallace to Kentucky. That got to flourish with that for that year. I mean, look at the dudes that he's helping. He's assisting Shire and bringing in early. And these are top-tier dudes. You know what I mean? Duke, cherish him, love him, because that's a dude who deserves to be the coach for the Lakers in my book.
And then it helps that from the recruiting perspective and what we're at this summer, that we're in the midst of the NBA playoffs and they're able to get Jason Tatum to pull up to an EYBL event in the middle of a playoff series and sit right there with those guys.
The vibes are there, right?
Yeah.
The vibes are definitely there.
So 2024, Isaiah Evans, the most recent commit. Darren Harris has been committed to the Brotherhood for quite some time. Dylan Harper, a name that we're hopeful will ultimately decide to play for Duke. Tyler Betsy has been a name that's been out there in the class of 2020. I mean, how many more spots do you think Duke is looking to add in that class? And then, as you mentioned, there's still the Cooper Flagg and Boozer twins of it all that we still haven't even touched.
This is the way I would look at it. Aim high, and they'll get high. Now they might not get. I hate to set such lofty expectations, but I mean, look at what they've done so far. Aim high, and you'll get high, and they're already on it. They're already on it. You mentioned Isaiah Evans. This is a dude who can get a shot off whenever he wants to. They know the value he brings. They call him baby Brandon Ingram. What did Brandon Ingram mean to the program?
Right.
You know what I mean?
And what program did he play for, Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. You bring in Darren Harris. They know that they need that 4-year guy who can make, like, if he's going to do one thing well, he's going to space the floor and make shots at a high level. You got Darren Harris. There it is. Tyler Betsy. Now you're recognizing potential. Is he there yet? No. But we already recognize him as a guy that has the potential to play in the league for a long time if he figures it out on a consistent basis. And they recognize that too. That's why they're in there. That's why they have to get him. And we're talking about a guy who has offers from Ivy League schools. So we know what the mentality is. You know what I mean? I believe you mentioned another prospect, but let's talk about Cooper Flagg and Cameron Boozer.
Yeah, I want to hear about Dylan Harper, though, in the class.
Dylan Harper.
I mean, it feels like it's kind of a two-show race right now, and Duke is one of those. I mean, what is that looking like right now?
And you know who the other show is, right? And they're doing everything possible to make sure that like they get him locked in, and that deservingly show because he's that good. I'll tell you this. Duke will be in there good, but Rutgers is coming hard. Rutgers is coming hard and deservingly so, and they might be able to get him. They may be able to get it really done just because how well they did by his brother. They did his brother so well.
So in the 2024 class, what is that timeline looking like, though, as we just saw this Isaiah Evans commit? Like, again, for folks that don't follow recruiting every single day, are these next few weeks the time that we'll see that final momentum in 2024? What do you expect?
I'll tell you this. If I was to tell a fan what Dylan Harper's timeline is, I'll tell them to check into you every day, check into my site every day, and have Dylan Harper's post notifications on. I mean, he's an unspoken word. I mean, it's
not getting much out of him. Okay,
you're not gonna get much out of him. I think Dylan Harper deserves to make your views go up. They need to stay tapped into you.
I love that. And then what were you going to say about 2025 with the class that Duke's trying to put together? Cooper Flagg and the Boozer twins. Is it possible that they're all together in Durham? Do you think that could be possible?
Yes. Actually, you know what? Hell yes. Hell yes. Hell yes. Hell yes.
Don't get us too excited now, Brandon.
Not too excited because anything can happen. You know, you got money is a real thing, people. Money is a real thing. But if I was to buy stock into any staff that can get it done, yeah, Duke can get it done.
Is there interest there, you think, from Cooper Flagg?
Absolutely. You know, I interview the kid, and he knows who's bought into him. He doesn't let it faze him, but he knows who's bought into him. And Duke is one of those schools that is bought into him. And he recognizes that.
We're fired up. We're super excited. Appreciate you taking some time to join us on the podcast today. Give me one more website plug. Tell us where we could find your work. And you mentioned Travis Branham. Shout out some of those other names that we need to follow. Who do we need to follow to get our Duke recruiting fix?
Absolutely. I can't put myself first because I don't get there without those guys. But Deshaun London, he represents New Jersey. Make sure you tap into him. Your Tyler Bessie's, your Dylan Harper's. He has you on lock. Travis Branham, he represents the USA and the Spain, and Tyrese Proctor's from Australia. There's a reason why Travis Branham knows him. He's global. He represents the globe. The earth. Stay tapped into him. He'll get you with your transfer portal scoop and any internal scoop. Travis Branham knows. Trust me. Eric Bossi, Godfather. Make sure that you stay tapped into him. Adam Finkelstein, the director of scouting. He has your intel. He's the reason why we keep this thing flowing. The reason why we know what dudes are able to do on the hardwood. Stay tapped into him. We're the team, and we just hope to strive for the greatness that Duke has provided like the last 30 years, right?
Yeah.
And we're on that same wave, and we're going to match the energy if you stay tapped into us.
Long time coming. Well, Brandon, we'll do this again sometime soon, okay?
Absolutely.
All right. Absolutely. That's our pal Brandon Jenkins joining us here on the show today, and that's going to do it for the program. We appreciate you stopping by Locked On Blue Devils. Again, my name is JJ Jackson. That's going to do it for today's show. Thank you and good day.